I'm back with another video covering Phantoms of the Dead, which is season 1 episode 5. So a quick recap before we do jump into this episode. The story began, we met Frieren, Himmel, Heiter, and Einsam. They were a 4-person party tasked with slaying the Demon King. They traveled for 10 years before finally separating, reuniting 50 years later, seeing Himmel's final moments. 20 years goes by after that, we see Heiter in his final moments, sharing what little he had left with an orphan girl named Fern. We now jump a few more years ahead and find Frieren and Fern traveling together as master and apprentice. As far as we know up to this point, they're just visiting places Frieren once visited with her aforementioned party, notably Himmel. Obviously, he's kind of at the core at a lot of this, but we are now in present day with Frieren and Fern. We're going back to the Demon King's castle to learn more about the history and possibility of communicating with the dead as stated by Frieren's former master. One final thing though before we do jump in as well, let me know if you like these little recap intros where I cover the previous episode, or if you prefer I just jump into it. I assume the majority of those of you who are watching this probably have seen the anime. If you do like the little recap, please let me know. That helps me a lot. If you have not seen the first 2 videos, I do recommend checking them out. They cover the first 4 episodes across 2 separate videos. Today we're on episode 5, but if you want to see my in-depth analysis on the first 4 episodes, or the mini movie that was premiered when the anime first released, those are going to be the place to go. I will link them in the description as well. I do highly recommend you watch those though if you don't want spoilers, or if you are kind of keeping up in chronological order. I tried my best with the recap. I know it wasn't perfect, but I will try to improve those in the future. Maybe I'll try writing like little scripted recaps so that way it's a little bit more accurate, I guess, or a bit more fluid. Maybe I'll try something like that. But I just want to say, I want to make a quick little note here. I would love to see more comments for future anime recommendations that you think I would be interested in, mainly because Frieren is not going to last forever. I believe it's 28 episodes. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's 28 episodes, I think, or 20 something episodes on the original first season, and then season 2 I think just released episode 5 on the 13th of February. We have what, like 30 episodes total that I will be releasing, and probably by the time I catch up to season 2, the next episode will be released, maybe even 2 episodes, I don't know yet. We're gonna see how good I can maintain this schedule. But yeah, basically I already know that this anime is not gonna last forever, and so I would love to hear recommendations from you guys. I already have another anime that I actually started yesterday. I was actually just gonna watch it in my free time because I saw it and I was like, you know, I haven't watched an anime like this in a long time, and I decided to make a video on the first episode just to see how I liked it. It's okay. It's got a lot of mixed reviews. I don't want to reveal what it is yet, but let's just say I went kind of crazy on the first episode. I don't like starting too many series at one time, so I never do more than like 2 max. Also, we're info dumping here this episode. I apologize. I know some people don't like the info dump. So some great news. We just hit 100 subscribers, and that means that we also got approved by YouTube for certain features, and so now I can add chapters. I've always added chapters in the description, but now they'll show up on the bar, and if you want to skip the intro, I always add where the episode reaction and things like that actually starts. So if you don't like the info dumping, if you don't care about any of this, you can skip all the bullshit and just get to the video, or get to the episode. But yeah, I would love to hear some anime recommendations for once we get caught up on Frieren, and then I'll continually make videos on Frieren as the new episodes release. So please offer some recommendations. I absolutely want to hear what you guys want to see. We're now starting to kind of form a small little channel here, which is really dope. We just hit 100 subscribers. I already mentioned that, but it is incredible at how much we've been growing lately, and I very much appreciate it. I know it's only been a few videos, but my god, it is very cool to see. Let's get into this. I'm excited for episode 5. Let's do it. So we're 10 seconds in, and we got a guy's voice. So someone was talking to Frieren in a male voice, but it was like a deep male voice that we hadn't heard before, saying that she needs to speak with Himmel. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about this. They, the legendary mage, they never said she explicitly died, right? They just said she arrived at a place called Heaven, but that doesn't mean she explicitly died. I mean, I guess technically that's what it's implying, but we haven't actually seen her die yet. I don't know if we're gonna get a death scene, obviously, but until I see a death scene, or unless I get some type of like explicit explanation of her passing, which this may be kind of what this is implying. So I could be wrong, but it seems like heaven or some type of like afterlife does exist, at least for the soul. So I remember this from last time. right? Or I think it was last episode. I do remember this about her speaking of being in heaven. But the reason why I'm saying, did she die? And I guess I should have explained it when I said it. But what I'm thinking of is, how did Frieren get this information before her death if she experienced it after death? So that's what's making me think, like, is she actually dead, or was she able to communicate with the dead? You see what I'm saying? Or maybe she was able to go to heaven as a living being. So that's kind of where my mind is at. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so is she dead? Question mark. Put a pin in that. We'll check that later. So this is kind of something I mentioned before. I don't remember if I kept it in the last episode. So if I ever say something here like, oh, I mentioned this before, just know I may have cut a lot of it out in the previous episode, because I said a lot of non-essential, non-important things last episode, and it was still an hour long, but it was also like 3 episodes in one, but I had to cut like 2 hours of commentary out because I said a lot of useless bullshit. No, I wouldn't say useless, just like things that felt way out there that just did not make sense even after hearing it the second time in editing. I think I did mention this before. I don't remember if I kept it in. So Fern looked really surprised here when Eisen said, I'm sorry, it's gonna be a 10-year journey. In my mind, Fern's been with Heiter for like multiple years. Did Heiter never speak about the adventure that he had with Himmel and Eisen and Frieren during the slaying of the Demon King? Again, this could just be like an animation quirk, or maybe she forgot. Obviously, I'm not saying Fern has an eidetic memory or anything like that. I don't know. There's a lot of things about this universe I don't understand yet. Just from my observation here, she just looked really surprised about it being 10 years long. I don't remember if Frieren mentioned it to Fern directly, if that was during the journey. I don't remember if she mentioned like how long it was, but I have to think that all the time that she spent with Heiter, he had to mention it at least once. Maybe not the 10-year stint, but he had to mention at least a certain percentage of their adventure, you know, or like a certain portion of their adventure to her. So I can't believe that she's going into this blind. She has to know, she has to have some sort of expectation. I don't know. I guess I got a lot of that from her expression of her being surprised when Eisen said 10 years. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. I mean, maybe it's just shocking because maybe she's finally seeing it for the first time, or hearing it from the first time from like a primary source other than Heiter, and she's probably like, so that is true. So it wasn't just like this thing Heiter was said or Frieren said or whatever. Like, she's actually now hearing it across the board from everybody, and now she's realizing that it is actually a real time frame in which to get to the castle and achieve this goal. I don't know. You guys, you know what I'm kind of saying? So all that from one expression. I'm just going to get into it a little bit more first before I start throwing too many things out there, I guess. So she does understand that. She does kind of at least understand it to some extent. She knew about the previous adventure to some extent, which makes sense, obviously. Maybe I'm misremembering last episode, or maybe I saw the preview by accident or something, but I feel like I've already seen some of this. Now, obviously, them watching the meteor shower was in the first episode, I think. So obviously that, but I mean, Eisen here speaking on this, and then them at Eisen's house having that little last discussion. Yeah, so maybe this is like a small recap of some of the things that happened. Okay, probably. Just because a lot of people mentioned that the first 4 episodes were like a mini movie, so maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is like a small recap in the beginning. The first few minutes are just to like go over a little bit of what happened. That absolutely makes sense. Or obviously it could be adding in some extra stuff based on previous things we've already seen. God damn it, Eisen. I fucking love you. Holy shit, dude. I love Eisen already. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be an Eisen stan, but I am an Eisen stan. I think he has some of my favorite dialogue I've heard so far, and I'm just getting into it. Like, he is probably the most introspective character I think I've heard speak so far. Everybody has their own quirks. They have like these silly undertones at certain points, like, you know, like Frieren getting stuck in a chest, or Frieren like making the cute little cat face thing, or like eating desserts, or Fern eating desserts, or, you know, her with the puffy face. But Eisen, so far, like, he has this serious undertone, but it's not like a mean, aggressive seriousness. It's like a very chill, it's like an ASMR seriousness, if that makes sense. He's serious, but he's like very relaxing about it. Like, he doesn't create aggression with his seriousness. I know that probably doesn't make sense, and I'm trying to make it make sense. I think his dialogue is just very interesting, and I think he holds it together really well. Yeah, I didn't expect him to have such good dialogue from what I've heard so far, But just that one line by itself is like, to me, that's just such a crazy thing to drop. Maybe I'm jumping ahead too far. I've really liked his dialogue so far. Frieren's had some really good lines as well. I'm definitely going to be looking a lot closer at Aizen's dialogue and trying my best to pay more attention to it, because he's dropped a few lines I've really liked up to this point. Okay, so I think now we're starting to get into all the new content starting from here. So it showed us a really quick montage. It was like 10 seconds maybe of like everything we've seen up to this point. Frieren and Fern fighting the demon. Instead of sealing it away, we showed Fern using her defensive magic and Frieren, you know, obviously dominating his ass. We saw all of them watching the meteor shower. We saw really everything we've seen up to this point. I've already recapped a lot of that, so I'm not going to go into all that, but I really like this scene. It shows that while Aizen he's getting old, but he's technically the last remaining person of this party. And I know that sounds crazy. You're thinking, what about Frieren? And obviously Frieren has to live with these memories, but from what I've seen, Aizen is the last remaining actual member of this party with a traditional lifespan. I assume that, by the way. I'm assuming that, like, I'm sure Aizen lives longer than Haiter and Himmel, obviously. Well, he obviously does, but I mean, I assume, like, as his, like, race, so as a dwarf, I assume maybe that has a longer lifespan than, I'm assuming the priest, Haiter, was a human, and Himmel was a human. So, in my eyes, I'm assuming that Aizen, a dwarf, has a longer lifespan. Now, I don't know, like, from I was gonna say mythology, not mythology, like, from a fantasy standpoint, I have no idea if dwarves live longer than humans or mages or whatever, mages, elves, or any other race, right? I have no idea. Now, according to Frieren, the anime, not the girl, they do seem to live longer, but they do still seem to have a similar lifespan because of all the times he's mentioned being weak or old, right? That's why he's not going on the adventure with them. So that's kind of what I mean by him being the final remaining member of the party outside of Frieren, who's gonna live hundreds of more years probably. But he is the last remaining one with a traditional lifespan, as far as I know. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get more into it. I don't want to see an Aizen funeral in the future, but I know that it's going to happen. I fully expect an Aizen funeral. I fully expect a Fern funeral. I know that maybe that's jumping the gun. Maybe that sounds crazy. Like, I don't know. I guess just from the beginning here, though, I kind of already see a lot of everybody kind of dying and passing on because Frieren is, I mean, she's going to outlive everyone, right? Now, I don't know if they're going to show that or animate that or write that into the manga or whatever. Like, I don't know if that's going to be added in, but it's kind of implied, right? That Frieren's going to live so long that everyone around her is just going to die. Is that a little bit too morbid? Is that a little bit too, like, serious? I don't know, but it is kind of a given. Based on what we know so far. So that brings up another thing. Premature deaths are also a thing, right? With if Frieren dies in a fight with a more powerful demon, let's say they fight a demon that rises up and is more powerful than any demon ever in existence, and she dies, I would say that's possible, yeah, but unlikely. I don't know, again, I don't know if they're going to put this in, but I think she's going to have to live through the same thing she's already lived through a second time. With Himmel dying and now a lot of her original party dying. I think she's going to have the same situation with this second party that's going to pass away and they're all going to die and she's going to get close to them. It's going to be a kind of a similar cycle, maybe, but it's not going to be as hard on her. I mean, it is, okay, how do I phrase this? Because I don't want it to sound too bad. It's going to be really difficult for her, but I think she's going to really, truly understand it this time and try to make more memories this second time around and improve how she goes about learning about those around her. And I think she's already started, obviously, but I mean, I think she's going to do better with Fern than she did with Himmel because she didn't give the time to Himmel that she wanted to. Obviously, that was pretty apparent in literally the first episode. But even if none of that happens, once we get to the Demon King Castle or to the Demon Castle, I think if she is able to communicate with the dead, I think it's going to make it less eventful for her to learn, and that's what kind of scares me. I don't think they're gonna go that direction, but it scares me that she's gonna get to the castle and then realize that you could communicate with the afterlife and then not feel an obligation anymore to get to know them while they're living, you know. And I guess I kind of see how that could be a a possibility, and it makes sense. It does. I don't know. I hope that that's not what happens, and I don't think it is. But that would be really sad, because that would give no meaning to the journey, in my eyes, at least. Now, not to say that's a bad thing. I just feel like that kind of removes a lot of the character development, so I don't think they're going to go that direction. I just want to throw that theory out there, because at the end of the day, that's the whole point why I make these videos, is because I enjoy breaking these down. I'm not an expert on what I'm watching, obviously, but I like trying to throw things out there based on how my mind perceives things, or how I'm able to, like, how I understand things. I like to create the theories based on what I understand about the source material so far, and that's fun for me. I have so much fun making these, so I hope you guys are having fun watching these. But I have so much fun making them, because it's like, it really gives my mind time to not do anything but really just break these down and try and come up with different potential outcomes for the things I'm seeing and the things I'm learning. Here at the beginning, we haven't even gotten into the episode yet. I've just put a lot of time into it. Also, Fern is wearing her hair thing. I'm trying to also notice some of the more smaller things as we go along as well. I may not notice everything, obviously, but I promise you guys I'm invested in this, even if I don't catch everything. But Fern's wearing her little hair thing that Frieren gave her for her birthday. Oh, we didn't get a thing at the beginning of this. It didn't say 28 years later or whatever. And we might get one here soon, but I'm assuming that means this is... Oh yeah, we're probably going to get it next, aren't we? Yeah, probably. Because this is right after they found the tree with the legendary mages books and information. Also, why does Frieren always have her suitcase, dude? It's so funny to me to see her carrying that suitcase. I don't know why. It's just funny to think that she carries a suitcase when she's a mage. What is she? Wait, where's her staff? Did she put her staff in there? No, probably. She probably has her staff somewhere. I don't know what. Maybe she does put it in the suitcase. I don't know. Why is it so funny for a mage to carry a suitcase? I just feel like there could be a spell compiling everything into like a small capsule or something that you can carry in your pocket. Why do you need a suitcase? I don't know. Maybe I feel like there should be a spell to not have to carry a suitcase. There probably is, dude. I don't know. Fern just said she's been with Frieren for half her life. I completely forgot they spent that 5 years together. In my mind, I keep thinking, they've traveled for like 2 or 3 years. I keep forgetting that they spent like 5 years together at Heiter's house. So she was like 8 years old. She's 16 now. So yeah, they've literally spent half her life together. But that's crazy. I didn't even think about that. So they've known each other for 8 years, and they've god dang. So Fern's pretty much known Frieren for almost as long as she's known Heiter. Because I don't remember if they gave a specific time frame that she was with Heiter, but she was at least a few years old. Let's say this world is like a normal world where you become cognitive at like 5 or 6 years old. You can start forming memories. You can like a little before that, but roughly around 5 or 6 is when you start creating core memories that you can remember for, 10, 20, 30 plus years. So that means, let's say 5 or 6, she was an orphan and Heiter took her in. She only spent a few years with Heiter minimum. That means she's been with Frieren for not her entire life, but pretty damn close. For as long as she's known Heiter, she's pretty much known Frieren. I mean, there might be a few years difference, but there is not a big one. That's kind of interesting. So in a way, Frieren is kind of like her mommy. Okay, no, I'm sorry. That one's weird. No, that one's weird. Let's go. Not true. I'm going to say more like sister. Also, I was making a joke, but yeah, it's probably more like sister. So now this has me thinking. I wonder if Fern and Frieren are going to the castle for 2 different reasons. Or for the same reason, but for 2 different people. Is it possible that Fern has it in the back of her mind that if it's possible to communicate with the dead, that she can communicate with Heiter? I wonder if that's even I wonder if she's even thought of that at all. Because like I said before, I mean, he did raise her for a few years there and took her in and took care of her, and that could be interesting. That could definitely be interesting. I do kind of like that. That gives them both a reason, both Fern and Frieren, to actually go to the castle. But this little flashback is nice. It's nice to see, to learn more about the end of Heiter's life. I know we got to see it pretty much with Frieren and things like that, but we didn't really get to see everything leading up to it with Fern, because I think, if I remember correctly, we didn't get to hear their full conversation anyways, or really any of their major conversations, because Frieren was looking at her through the window, or we saw it through the window, but they were silent, if I remember correctly, so we didn't actually get to hear one of the last conversations they had. I'm sure they had a couple, obviously. I'm sure there's going to be more flashbacks here, but it's always interesting to see Heiter and more of his personality. Did Fern ever read the history of magic? Did she ever read that book? You guys remember that from the bunk beds? Did she ever read that? I don't really have anything new to say about the Heiter Fern interaction there. It was really nice to see. I mean, obviously it gave us a bit more insight into their final moments together speaking. You know, Fern, even at a young age, was pretty clever in the way that she spoke and how she understood things. So but we kind of already knew that. I already kind of knew that she had a high aptitude, and she seems kind of like a prodigy in magic. I would say she seems like a prodigy in magic, but I would also say that even a prodigy can fail. So I think at the end of the day, if you have talent and hard work, you have a better chance of succeeding than if you just have talent or just work hard. So if you have both, you pretty much hit the lottery. But yeah, I think it's really cool to see from her perspective. It seems like she does have a high aptitude for a lot of things. She seems to be smart. Okay, sorry. So I was sitting here talking, and I remembered I made someone had commented on a recent video. It was the episode 2 to 4, I think. And I replied to them earlier today. And I remember they kind of talked, because I had mentioned in the video about Fern being able to hide her mana and be undetectable by Frieren potentially. It's crazy to think Fern has such an aptitude for magic. I know they set it up for that to be the case, that, you know, obviously up to this point we've had it where Fern has shown being very good at magic in a lot of different ways, obviously, in her being able to learn quickly and understand and grasp the concepts. But now that makes me think. So I said, will Fern eventually surpass Frieren in some ways? So I have this theory. Well, I think it's been proven now. If Fern actually tries to hide her mana, so that way she can hide from Frieren. Remember last episode, last video that we did, where Fern was able to follow Frieren to the guys in the sweet shop, to getting her birthday present, Fern's birthday present, all these things. Fern being able to do that means that Frieren was not able to detect her mana, which is very impressive considering Frieren is thousands or 100 years old, whatever. She's had a lot more time to study magic and be able to counter the possibility of an invisible mana. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's not a good way to phrase that. But so now my question here that I just said, will Fern eventually surpass Frieren in some ways? I'm guessing yes, and maybe she already has. I'm sure we'll see some stuff like that in the future. I'm sure we'll see some stuff where Fern is shown to be more powerful. Maybe not more powerful than Frieren, but more powerful in terms of just as a general mage, right? Like, I don't know if they're going to compare her to other mages or other elves. No, I don't know if they're going to compare her to like other mages and things like that, but I guess we'll see. I don't know. That was just something I thought of earlier. I thought I'd share it with you guys. I still hold that same viewpoint, that I don't think she'll surpass Frieren completely. I think that's pretty much impossible because Frieren obviously studies both the practical side of magic and she studies the theoretical side of magic. So I do think that she has a really good understanding of just everything. I don't think that Fern's going to be able to surpass Frieren. I just don't see that being a possibility. But I do think that she will surpass her in certain ways. So yeah, we'll see though. We shall see. 28 years after the death of Himmel the hero and I'm going to say Wiley, located in the Central Lands. Okay. So we are still roughly in the same year as the previous episode. So this is kind of an interesting episode. I'm not going to call this episode filler, but I think it's going to be less focused on getting to the castle and more so maybe doing something in this village relating to a similar topic. So not related to communicating with the dead, but related to interacting with the dead in a more malicious way, which if you don't know the history, or ghosts are essentially people who have passed on and died, or not passed on, sorry, that's the wrong phrasing. Someone who has died and who is stuck in purgatory and is haunting the area in which they're laid to rest. So I wonder if that's what this is going to kind of to be at. It's going to show not the aggressive side, but the more dangerous side of communicating with the dead, or having the dead be, or this could just be one of those things where it's like, it's not a ghost and people in this town just have superstitions. It's probably more like that. That's a more common trope. So it seems like ghosts are popping up of dead family members and acquaintances and speaking to them. Isn't that basically what we're kind of doing going to the castle though with Himmel? Isn't that what Frieren wants to do? Obviously, obviously, this is not real. I'm sure this is some type of either prank. This is some type of like dangerous individual trying to kidnap or hurt in some way those who are curious enough, or maybe those who are grief-stricken and want to communicate with those who have passed on. So I mean, it's probably someone either doing that, because they said some people have gone missing, so I don't think it's actually a real thing, but it's probably a fake ghost, because they mentioned it multiple times that communicating with the dead and things like that aren't really a realistic thing you can do even with magic. So I don't think there's any validity in it. Wait, if that's the case, then necromancy is actually like a real class of magic in this world then, or a real possibility? I guess that could be interesting. So maybe I was off I think I had mentioned necromancy previously about when they were communicating with Himmel, but probably wasn't the right descriptor. If I did say that, I think I did, but maybe I didn't. If that is true, then that means necromancy is a real classification in this world. So that could have some interesting repercussions later, maybe. Could even have some interesting repercussions in this episode. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to take a guess. Is it possible that... So she mentioned that those who died and are being reanimated are being shown as if they were alive, like how they looked when they were alive, but obviously decay and the body would break down, and you guys know how death works. Is it possible that one of my previous theories is possibly correct with the ditto? You guys remember the ditto, where if there's like a shapeshifter or someone who can basically mirror another person's visual attributes and then portray that to people outwardly, but obviously being a ditto. So apparently Frieren knows what it is. Wait a minute. Oh shit, wait a minute. What is it called? Oh, I knew I remembered it. Is it a siren? No. It's a fairy. Hold up. Okay, I don't know why this shit just hit me. I watched a movie. So there was this movie I watched a while back about fairies who trapped these humans in like a house out in the middle of the woods, and then what they would do is they would not take control of the humans themselves, but they would look just like the humans. Oh my god, I remember that movie. And it went into all the lore about like fairies and how they functioned in society working together with humans for years, and eventually got overtaken because humans were scared of their powers. One of the original renditions of fairies in fantasy tropes was not Tinkerbell. It was not like all these fairies that you know of. It was literally shape-shifting, like these white or just like plain creatures that were they had no physical attributes, and they could just transform. They could change their voices, their visual characteristics. Everything about the fairies could be altered to match whatever it is that they were copying. I knew that I was thinking of something last time when we were talking about Ditto, and I couldn't remember it, and it just hit me just now. I bet this is a fairy. Oh my god, that was such a good movie. If anybody wants to know the movie, let me know. I will look it up, but I don't know it off the top of my head. I think it was just called Fairy or something like that, but I could probably find it. I'd have to go way back in my history of my movies watched. But if anyone, it is a scary movie, but if anyone's interested, let me know in the comments. And oh my god, I hope I'm right, because that shit hit me like a semi-truck in my brain. Dude, my cerebral cortex was lit up there. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this now. Watch me be completely wrong, by the way. I probably am. Oh my god, she said the thing. Okay, so I think I was partially right with Fern kind of having her own reason to go on this journey with Frieren to the castle. And I think it was more solidified just now with what she said. She said to Frieren, because Frieren was like, we don't care about, or she didn't say this, but I'm kind of paraphrasing. Frieren was basically like, no, we need to move on. Doesn't matter with, what's going on in this village. We don't got to worry about it. And Fern was like, well, unlike you, I'm a good girl. We should help them. Back when Heiter and Fern was talking when she was a kid, Heiter, he was obviously making a joke. He was being a bit sarcastic, but he was saying it in a way that was comforting. But he said, if you're a good girl, maybe after I pass on, I will come visit you sometimes. I don't know if that's a callback or if it was just kind of like a play on the words a little bit, but it just happened. So I'm assuming it was like a small callback, just kind of show like Fern's emotional state and how she thinks doing something like this could potentially lead to her seeing Heiter again, as well as it could just be a nice framework that she's followed ever since Heiter mentioned her being a good girl could help with, them potentially reuniting. So it could just be a framework she follows of always being good, which makes sense. She has up to this point been a pretty good character in terms of like an ethical and moral standpoint, right? I think so, at least. Obviously she has her human traits, but as far as I know, she's been pretty consistently good. All right, so before they do their investigation and start revealing information, I'm locking in fairy because I believe that fairies, they say there's a kind of magic here, so I'm locking in that fairy is what's doing this. Maybe that's kind of crazy, but it feels possible in this setting. It really does. Fern said illusion magic. I had the same thing, or the same thought as like a mesmer. If you've ever seen a mesmer, they can basically project something. Kind of like a ditto, or kind of like something that can shapeshift, but it's a projection of the shapeshift, or the projection of like the source material. I mentioned that too, I think last episode or a few episodes ago, about the shadow clone jutsu. I guess that makes sense. I should have said it beforehand, because now it just looks like I'm saying it like I know. I don't know, I could still be wrong, but it looked like an illusion in the flashback. But then again, I think that I'm letting my bias take over a lot right now, because I think I just want to see like some type of fairy or some type of like shape-shifting something, or some type of like shadow clone jutsu. I don't know. I think I'm letting certain portions of my bias take over here, unfortunately, but illusion magic makes 100% more sense than a fairy, I guess. So Frieren officially revealed that it's something called an Einsam. I don't know if this is real. I'm actually looking this up. It could be something specific to Frieren. It is. Okay, so I'm not gonna look into this anymore then. I wasn't sure if it was a real thing from like any type of like mythos or any type of like supernatural setting. So it seems like it's like specific to this. Oh god, that's probably not good. Okay, so there's not really anything super new here. The Einsam is a creature that is not dangerous to mages, but is very dangerous to humans. We've kind of already learned based on, you know, it projecting the loved ones who have passed on, or acquaintances or whatever. We already kind of knew that illusion was there to lure them in to consume them. Well, I don't think I actually mentioned all that yet, but yes, it is used to lure them in and consume them. I don't know if I've ever heard of anything like that in any other, I mean, obviously I have, like there's a lot of monsters like that in other tropes, but I don't think I've heard of anything called the Einsam that is in any other story. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to have any kind of impact on their current journey, or if this is just kind of a side thing. I guess we'll see. So Frieren's trauma dumping on us here. I was not... Oh, I know what's going to happen. I see why we did the flashback with Heiter now. This thing's going to make a projection, or an illusion of probably Heiter, most likely Himmel. We're going to have to see them essentially kill Himmel and Heiter. I mean, it's obviously not going to be like a 1-for-1. It's obviously going to be an illusion, but I mean, there's a lot of emotions that can run over you when you see someone you love dearly in front of you after years of being dead. So this is definitely going to be interesting. Fern is asking the question that I was just about to ask. I didn't even see the subtitles pop up that time either. So Frieren just dropped some crazy lore saying that she heard her master beg for her life over and over again. Or she was accustomed to it, I guess that's a better way to phrase it. Yeah, let me see what she says before I really give a comment on this, but... Why? Hello? What do you mean? Did she answer it? Are you serious? Bro, you're really just gonna leave us with that? That, god damn it. Bro, you are hanging me off a cliff right now. She literally she just trauma dumped all over, and they're not even gonna tell us why. I mean, yes, we're gonna learn probably. I know that's what they're doing. But god dang it. It's probably not gonna come for like 10 episodes. I don't know. It might happen here. I don't know. But now my question is, did she tell Fern? Is Fern gonna be the one to tell us, I guess? Or are they gonna talk about it later? Or did she just ignore Fern's question? Yes, ma'am, Frieren. Oh my god. Have they done that before? So... Bro, that proves it. They can literally deconstruct and reconstruct matter at will. Maybe there was an animation already where they had their staffs put out using magic. But that proves that they can deconstruct matter into a non-existent space and utilize it whenever they need the thing and reconstruct it. Why Why does she carry a suitcase? Is it just to look adorable? Is that it? Is it just to be cute on the internet? No, it's not. But why does she carry a suitcase? That is actually a genuine question I have now. Like, Fern just proved that she can, maybe only the staffs are, well, I feel like if it's just the staffs, maybe it's because they're imbued with magic, but couldn't you just imbue the suitcase with magic or get a special suitcase created that's built with the same, I guess, type of magic as the staff or something like that? You see what I'm saying? You kind of get what I'm getting at? I guess I'm just trying to get at like why the staffs are different. Maybe they are. Maybe the staffs are a unique item in that way where you can't do it with any other worldly items other than the mage's staff or the mage's instrument. I don't think instrument's the right word, but why the suitcase though? I mean, obviously it has books and things in it. I understand why she needs the suitcase, but I mean, couldn't she just pull out things whenever she needs it from this dimension or from wherever the staff is stored or wherever the I guess that explains where her staff is from. I don't know. I guess I've never paid attention to it, or maybe that's the first time it's happened. At least so, like, on screen. It's probably happened before, but that's the first time I've seen it, like, happen, like, right up on screen like that and be, like, the center focus of the shot. I don't know. The suitcase is now going to bother me because I don't have answers. I need answers for the suitcase, dude. I know for a fact whose voice I just heard. Oh, this is about to get interesting. I think she's gonna learn, but I do think it's gonna be difficult for her to eventually, or to have to do this. Yep, fully expected that. So my guess is the Einsam, like, directly accesses the memory of the person that they are projecting for or against, and then they use those memories in the projection to trick the person or the human or the prey. I'm just using a bunch of descriptive words, but I'm pretty sure that's a pretty common concept, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here because obviously he knows what to say to Fern to keep her second guessing if this is actually Hyter or not, which obviously I think she knows, but it can still be a difficult thing to comprehend. I was wondering where she got that staff. So it was Hyter that gave her the staff, which was obviously pretty much a given, but you know, I was always curious if she had it when she was found or if Hyter gave it to her or whatever. So I guess that answers that question. Okay, so I think I kind of get it. So Frieren, or an elf, can see through the projection or the illusion, but she can still see the illusion technically. It's just not as okay. I do. It's just she has the ability to dispel it without it being a major concern like it is with like Fern or a human, right? I think I kind of get it. I think I'm getting the picture. I'm getting the idea. That is interesting that it shows him instead of her master though. Imagine that it showed her master multiple times. So yeah, I mean, I guess that means she is changing. Oh, that's so smart though on the whoever's projecting this, the Einsam. That's so smart. I don't know if Frieren's gonna fall for it, but obviously you would expect Himmel to say, "I've missed you, Frieren," or, you know, "It's good to see you again." But instead, Himmel's playing the opposite. I'm going to say it's Himmel. I know it's not Himmel, but Himmel, or the creature, is playing the opposite. That's kind of fascinating. That's a really interesting way to play it, just to play with Frieren's emotions in hopes of getting her to let her guard down. Okay, that's cool. At least I assume that's what's happening. I was wrong about so many things there. Okay, so okay. I guess that's just what Himmel would say. Maybe I don't know Himmel well enough. Okay, I don't know Himmel well enough. Was this necessary? Was this really necessary right here? I don't know if that was necessary, but it looked cool. Let's go. Let's go, Fern. Okay, so I screwed up on the Himmel front. I'm sorry. Don't roast me too much, okay? I thought they were using her memory, right? Well, I guess it technically, if it's kind of a thing before, because it said it doesn't really affect elves. So I guess in my mind, I thought because she saw Himmel that maybe for some reason this one was more powerful. I don't know. I think I just need to get to know Himmel better. 28 years after the death of Himmel in a canyon. Yo, there's dragons here now? Okay, no, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Is Frieren really about to steal a book from a dragon? Is Fern about to... Is Fern powerful? Can she solo a dragon? Is Fern strong enough to solo a dragon? I do not think you even scratched, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. You are not as worried as you should be. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Frieren is way too carefree. Sometimes. She just made her apprentice shoot a dragon. It bounced off the dragon like a god dang water on a t-shirt. I don't know. What do you call those t-shirts that water, whatever. And then she just like does a little jog away. She's not even running at full speed, bro. She's just doing a little jog. I still have the same theory in my head that she's so powerful that she just doesn't give a shit. I mean, she does care, but I mean, like, she's so carefree because she knows she has the power to blow away whatever it is that's in front of her. For the most part, I feel like that I still kind of have that same mentality about her. So what I'm getting from this interaction is that Frieren can easily get away from a dragon by hiding behind a tree, and Fern just got emotional damage. They said the word companion. Is it time to introduce the red-haired guy that I know of? I wonder if their hair color has anything to do with anything. He has red hair, Fern has purple hair, and Frieren has white hair. I wonder if that has any meaning to anything. Obviously, Himmel had like a light blue hair. I think it was like light bluish, greenish type tint color, but yeah, anyways, they said they're taking on a companion, so I'm assuming this is where we meet the red-haired Stark boy that I know absolutely nothing about other than one screenshot that I saw of him carrying an axe. So beyond him carrying an axe, I only know that he has red hair. Assuming that's what this is. I don't know. They said they were taking on a companion, and he's the only one who I know that they potentially travel with. Might be a flashback? I don't know. Let me continue. Okay. This is a flashback. Holy shit, dude, I called it. I did it. I don't even surprise myself anymore, dude. I do, actually. This was such a shot in the dark, but I'm glad it is real. It is a real thing. I was correct about Frieren picking up more companions or more people to travel with her. Fern and I guess now Stark, who are connected to the members of her old adventuring team. Her old party. My God. Now, it was not that crazy of an idea, and I know that it's not that surprising. I'm just glad that one thing I said actually worked out. Wait, so they were already planning on doing this, so why did she stop to fight a dragon if she was already planning on doing this, dude? Dude, I love Frieren sometimes because it's just like she just does shit. She seems smart in a lot of cases, but like sometimes it's like she just does shit, and I like that about her. I'm glad that is the case, though. I find that a lot more interesting for the story of Frieren traveling with companions tied to her past, and I think that really ties everything together. I like that. I like that a lot, and I think that's a good direction. Stark's not the dragon, is he? Did you guys see that dragon had red skin or red scales? And the only thing I know about Stark is that he has red hair with a red outfit and an axe. Am I stupid? Is that dumb? Is it possible that Stark is a dragon? There's no way. There's absolutely no way, right? That'd probably be one of my crazier theories, but it would be kind of cool. So here we have Fern ask what kind of spell is potentially in the book that was in the dragon's nest. I wonder if it's a spell that allows you to see through clothes. You know, that would be a very far-fetched spell. You guys think? You guys think a spell like that exists? Bro, don't you already have a potion for this? Why do you need a spell to... Yes, I rewinded just to make that joke. But does it already have a potion for this? Remember the potion bottle? She never used it, right? Or did she buy it? I don't remember if she bought it. Because I think Fern said that she had to return it, right? Yeah, Fern said she had to return it. She probably ended up buying it anyways. I'm noticing that Frieren really likes spells and potions that can dissolve clothing. That is a very base decision from our white-haired elf mage here, I think. Or sorry, not dissolve. It lets you see through clothing. So like an x-ray vision, I guess. Not dissolve it. She's right. This is exactly how I was thinking of it too, by the way. Obviously, I wasn't thinking of this in any other way other than a very protective, wholesome, defensive way to protect myself or them protect themselves from weapons. I was thinking the same thing. Of course. Obviously. So I'm assuming Stark already knew they were on the way. I assume Eisen probably said something. Okay, so the dragon is not Stark. Okay. Stupid theory, crossed off the list. Alright. Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. That's an intro to all intros right there, my dude. Dude, Stark is just like showing his battle scars. Bro is like, I got this one. And Frieren is just like, shit, dude. That's nothing. Bro, I kind of was hoping that Frieren would just like pull up her the back of her shirt and just show her like her back or something to Stark and be like, I got this one from, like, they just started like showing each other their scars and their battle scars. I don't know why that would be funny, but goddamn, dude, she just roasted my boy. I am so sorry, Stark. I'm just for that, I'm gonna give you like all the chances in the world, my dude, because you have already been roasted and toasted and flipped over and berated by this girl, dude. And all she had to do was say one thing. Bro's face says it all. My God, that is a good intro. All right, fair enough. Let's go. We got a flashback. Okay, there's dancing rocks, but we got a flashback, which is nice. So we met Stark. My first impression of Stark, aside from laughing at his injury, I think he's cool. He's cool. I mean, he seems to be a little bit stern. Like, he doesn't really, obviously he doesn't want to join the group. But I think honestly, I think he's settled down in this village and he's happy here. He obviously wants to protect them from the dragon, I think. But it seems like he's kind of settled down here and has enjoyed his time in the village, would be my guess. But yeah, I mean, he seems cool. I like him so far. Obviously, I want to get to know him a little bit better. Like, we still don't know anything about him. But we are getting a flashback, and because Frieren's now going to be talking about why she wants the book. She's obviously talking about Himmel here, about how he praised the spell. We already knew that, though. We already knew that Himmel really liked it when Frieren, you know, showcased the spells that she learned and collected. So we already knew that, but it's always nice to hear. So, but that still raises the question on why Stark hasn't defeated the dragon up to this point. Even if he likes the village and he likes being here, is he using that as an excuse, or does he not have the power to defeat it for some reason? Is he not strong enough? I can't imagine that being the reason, but it could be. I also noticed that, I think I mentioned this partially earlier, but the magic that Fern used literally slipped off the scales of the dragon. I wonder if it's because it's a solar dragon, because it seems like there's different types of dragons, because Stark said he got that scar from a shadow dragon, so there's definitely different dragons. So there's a shadow dragon and a solar dragon. But I wonder why the magic kind of just slipped off the scales and why it didn't really affect it, you know? Maybe, I don't know if all dragons are like that or just this particular dragon. I don't even know if we're going to run into any other dragons, but that's crazy. I'm glad that we got a dragon. I think that's cool. I'm assuming he's been here for a while. I mean, the grandma's kid wasn't that much more grown up, so maybe he's only been here a few months. That would be my guess. If that may be like, I may be giving him a lot more time, but if you remember, the kid was kind of the same, roughly around the same age as when the dragon first appeared. So and I think they may have mentioned like a slight time frame. I think they may have mentioned a time frame. I think it was a few months. Why hasn't he dealt with it up to this point? And if mages are kind of useless, or at least very like minimally effective against the dragon, I mean, all they can do is support or help him, right? So why hasn't he dealt with it? I guess we're about to find out. Okay, I am ready for this then. I am excited. I'm not a big axe boy. Axe is not my favorite weapon by any means. I mentioned before, I am a mage or like a necromancer player. So like, I'm a very big like magic user when it comes to games or any type of like RPG. But I have a soft spot for big ass swords. I love me some Final Fantasy VII, you know, Zack, Cloud, right? I love me some big ass swords. Sephiroth, get out of here, dude, with your long ass, skinny ass sword, dude. Bigger the better. I love me a buster sword. I'm interested to see this, is what I'm getting at, as a non-axe liker. Dude, the words I say sometimes just feel discombobulated. I take back everything I just said. Everything I just said was a waste of breath. I'd like to reverse all of it. 180. Walk away. Fully expected Stark to be some badass warrior with Eisen being his master, but clearly we have gotten this. But not surprising, because when Frieren asked Eisen, is he a good warrior? Paraphrasing a little bit, I think she said it a little bit differently, but Eisen responded with, He didn't say yes or no from what I saw. He just kind of said, he just looked down and closed his eyes, if I remember correctly. So bro just kind of like, you'll find out. That was the response that I kind of got from him. back then. I feel like it could also be a setup for like a really good character development for Stark. I feel like it could be a really good character development for him. Like, obviously starting from what he is now to... I mean, everybody starts somewhere, you know? So I want to say this before she says whatever she's going to say. I'm kind of curious if maybe Stark is the one who cut the mountain in half, or that big rock in half. That may not be the case, by the way, but I thought that from the very beginning, but then it kind of flew out my mind as soon as he started acting like that. Now I don't know, but I just want to throw it out there before Frieren talks, because I don't want it to seem like I'm stealing Frieren's ideas, you know? It could have been the dragon that cut it too, I guess. It may not have been him. Or he could be lying. He could be acting like that because he's scared. Yo, we got Puff Shroom Fern. Let's go. Okay, so I'm glad I paused before Frieren touched the rock. So I do definitely think he has the power to do it. I'm trying to find his reasoning for not wanting to fight the dragon. I think my original assessment is probably correct, where he doesn't want to leave the village, but he does have the power. I'll admit, I did not pick up on the way he acted with having no experience and crying and whatever. I didn't immediately pick up on him doing that on purpose to not leave the village or not have to fight the dragon or whatever. Oh, wait a minute. He touched the injury. I wonder if it's because the shadow dragon, he might be scared to fight another dragon after that injury. And that probably could be why, maybe. And maybe the only reason he jumped in front of them to protect them from the dragon, the solar dragon, is because his overwhelming sense of his overwhelming sense of protection over the village, or the people in the village, overpowered his fear of fighting the dragon. Kind of something like that is where I'm kind of getting at. That would be my guess. So I think there's just a lot of things going on here that I'm trying to pick up on, and I think that it's obvious what's going on here, and I'm just making it more complicated in my head. So I do think I'm on the right track. I just think I need to get to know Stark a little bit more to know 100% if that was a completely falsified response to Frieren or not, when he was, you know, crying and weeping like a coward. Which we're probably going to find out next episode, by the way, because there's only like 2 minutes left in this episode. I want to clarify, though, even if even if he's not a coward, and this entire time he's a super strong ass warrior, I want to clarify, he's Eisen's apprentice. I'm keeping that in my head all the time. There is absolutely no way that Eisen's apprentice would be weak. You know what I mean? Like, have you seen Eisen? I have not seen Eisen in combat yet, other than like in a small montage. Just from the little bit that I know about Eisen up to this point, including his like good dialogue, but it just seems like he has a good sense about just like a good sense about himself, right? He has a good way of like carrying himself. That's probably a better way to phrase that. He has a good way about carrying himself and showcasing himself to the world outwardly, right? Obviously, he probably has his own fears, but Eisen is just, he seems like he is a powerful warrior that has the ability to do great things and has done great things. So, I mean, bro, he helped defeat the Demon King according to the lore of this anime. So, I mean, obviously bro's not just another kid running the streets. Bro is definitely got some power behind him. So there's absolutely no way that Eisen would have an apprentice that isn't at least somewhat powerful or somewhat strong, right? So it's just like, I'm keeping that in my head because I think he's just scared. Stark, I think he's just scared, and I don't think he wants to fight the dragon because he has some type of fear. I think it's fear that's really making it difficult for him. That's my pre-dragon fight analysis, by the way. Come back tomorrow for the play-by-play at the dragon fight. I don't know. Oh, here we go. So remember, this is what I was curious about earlier. Oh. Damn, okay. I see. But it does seem like I was kind of right. So Eisen said that Stark is a coward, but he has the makings of a real warrior. And I gotta say, I kind of agree. I mean, he's got the power behind him now. He's just gotta not be a coward, I guess. Or at least overcome it. Okay, so I guess it was just training. I guess that makes sense. I put like 2 hours into that one. It was more like an hour and a half, but dang, dude. I am just like, I'm getting way too invested in this. I'm yapping too much. I feel like you guys can let me know if I'm yapping too much, but I love just throwing my ideas out there. It's really nice. Yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed episode 5. So that was the introduction to Stark at the very end. We got to see some illusion magic. I don't think we've seen illusion magic up to that point. We saw Fern. She still had the hairpin in, so that means she is still, you know, I don't know, just a little thing I noticed there. What else was there? I mean, there was a bunch of things. Obviously, we got to see more of Eisen. We got one of the best dialogues from Eisen there towards the beginning, where bro said, what did he say? He said, Frieren said, "Oh yeah, a mere 10 years, only like 1/1000th of my life." And then Eisen responded with, "Yeah, but that 1/1000th really changed your life," or something like that. I know that's paraphrasing. That's not the best. It's not great. Yeah, it was just a really, really good line from Eisen. We did confirm a theory where the people traveling with Frieren are connected to her previous life with Himmel, Eisen, and Heiter. The only person left is Himmel, but I don't think they're going to add anybody else. They might add another companion, maybe, I don't know, but I've never seen anyone other than Fern or Stark. So if they add anybody else, zero knowledge in my brain. I don't know anybody else who gets added. So we're pretty much at the point now where I've met everyone I know. I think I vaguely remember maybe like a blonde elf or something. I think I've seen a picture of like a blonde elf, maybe. That's about the only thing now that I can remember outside of the initial stuff I mentioned in episode 1. Cool, man. I'm loving it. I'm still loving it. I'm having a great time so far with the anime. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 5. This one's probably going to be another long one, even though it was only one episode. I just got really invested in it. I also did a little bit of a longer intro, and now I'm doing a little bit of a longer outro, but it was really good. And I appreciate all of you for sticking with me again today. I thank you so much. Hope all of you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all for episode 6 whenever I can.